one of the funnest rides I've ever had uphill on a mountain bike. Turbo mode only range test, which means I'm gonna be in turbo mode, the highest power mode on this Trek rail, and really push this battery and this Line CX Bosch motor to the limits. Now, a couple things I'm interested to see. First of all, how will this battery affect motor performance? As this battery drains down and as I get lower into like below 50%, especially down into the 25% and lower, will the output of the motor change? Will I still be able to have that full power mode going, or will I end up having to knock it down? Also, I'm kind of interested to see how turbo mode is. Is it a bit too much on the way uphill? Because I know this bike assists up to 20 miles per hour with that 85 Newton meters of torque. So without further ado, let's get out on the trail, switch this thing into turbo mode, and get to smashing. And we made it to the top of the mountain. One of the funnest rides I've ever had uphill on a mountain bike, Trek rail, turbo mode. Let's go ahead and check the numbers, because the numbers is what we were talking about at the bottom. Now, as I showed you, I started at 98%. And 98%, what the heck? I'm not sure why I didn't charge all the way. I had it on the charger all night. But anyways, by the time I threw the bike in the back of the truck, drove out to the trail, powered it on, it was at 98%. Now, this thing, after climbing up to the top, is at 56%. So that is climbing with an average speed of 13 miles per hour on the way up, 5.63 miles climbed, 25 minutes, well, close to 26 minutes. And in that 26 minutes, I've climbed from that trailhead down at the bottom all the way up to the top of this mountain, which is over 1,400 feet. So over 1,400 feet of climbing in 26 minutes, average speed of 13 miles per hour, smashing up those hills. Now let me talk just a little bit about my riding experience on the way up before we get to smashing back down this hill. So you could definitely feel the motor limiting out at 20 miles per hour. In fact, it was more like about 19.8 miles per hour when you hit that. You kind of feel the motor kick off and you feel your legs having to pedal a little bit harder. On the way up in that turbo mode, I was a little bit scared on how that would be going around switchbacks and stuff like that, if it would be too much power and start to kick me backwards. Didn't feel like too much power. I was definitely able to stay a little bit more gentle on the pedal and kind of fly up around those switchbacks. This is set to factory settings, so I didn't go into the app and adjusting these settings. Turbo mode, factory setting on default. I've burned from 98% down to 56% on there. So let's go ahead, hop back on this bike, smash back down the hill. We're gonna get down to the bottom. I'll kind of keep this thing in turbo mode on the way down. We'll see how much more battery it's drained on the way back down, just flying back down the hill. Then we'll do this all over again, because what this is all about is really putting this e-bike to the limits. For guys like me, you don't always have the most amount of time to ride throughout the week. So I really want to test not only the battery, the motor, and the power of that motor as that battery gets lower, but I also want to test just the amount of laps you can get on this bike, because that's what e-bikes are all about, getting the max amount of laps, having that max amount of fun. And for guys like me, and probably like you, that don't always have the most time to get out and ride, these full powered e-bikes can really deliver that. But let's go ahead and get back down to the bottom, talk through the numbers and the stats, and put this bike to the test. All right, so there we go. Back down at the trailhead right here, and we're sitting at 57%. So apparently we've gone from 56% at the top to 57% at the bottom. So definitely didn't lose any battery life, maybe even gained a percent right there. But I was taking it easy on the way down, rode down a black diamond trail called Nighthawk, definitely not setting any Strava times. Plus I had to run back up and down a couple times to film myself. But now that we've made it to the bottom, you can see it doesn't lose any power on the way down. And the thing we're going to be checking for in this next run is that Bosch Performance Line CX motor. How does that motor perform as this battery dips down below 50%? All right, smashing on the way back uphill now. Woo! Definitely starting to get a little bit winded. just because I'm riding an e-bike in turbo mode doesn't mean I'm not putting a good effort in. I've also noticed riding uphill this fast, I'm feeling a lot more hand fatigue than I normally would have, but I didn't hit record for that reason. I kind of wanted to turn on the camera real quick and talk about what I've noticed as this bike dips down below 50%. I've noticed that the power and the speed limiting, it doesn't bring you all the way up to 20 miles per hour like it was doing before. It's kind of starting to limit me more at about 19 miles per hour. I'm noticing that the motor is getting just a little bit louder as I pedal, but I'm still feeling really good torque, really good power output, even right now as I'm at 34% battery. So let's go ahead, continue this climb up to the top and check the stats. So here we go, back at the top of this beautiful mountain, climbed up another 1,400 feet or so. So we've climbed almost 3,000 feet. We're about to be descending back down. So we're gonna have 3,000 feet of climbing and descending. At the top, let's check the power. We got 21% of battery left. When it hit 25%, these amber LED lights came on and the battery symbol went kind of amber yellow to give us that indication that we're getting low on power. I just want to talk about a couple things real quick before we head back down. Is that, like I said, that max assist up to 20 miles per hour. As this battery power dropped below 50%, it was only giving me max assistance up to about 19 miles per hour. Then you could feel the motor kind of cut out. Even down here at the 20 to 25%, you can feel it cutting out just a little bit closer to like 18 miles per hour, not quite up even to the 19, but still plenty of power, still plenty of torque, plenty enough to be able to smash up those technical sections, enough to where when you're going up around those switchbacks, you kind of have to be careful to pedal. So let's go ahead and head back down. I'm expecting that 21% right there is going to remain, and we're going to have that amount at the bottom, but let's go ahead, run this battery all the way down to 0% and see what we got. One-handed MTB riding isn't a good idea. Woo! So there you go. We have dropped down it a little bit to 19% on the battery. You can see on the display that little amber LED light has been kind of ticking down. It's down to the last bar, so it's letting me know I'm getting lower on power. So far, we've gone a total of 19 miles in an hour and just over an hour and 38 minutes. Woo! Definitely feeling winded, man. Even though I'm in turbo mode, I'm pushing it to the limit on this thing. So let's go ahead, get the last little bit of battery drained out of this thing and see how far it takes us. Turbo mode challenge, range test. Let's finish this thing up. All right, down to the last 2% of battery right here. You can definitely feel that the bike is starting to be limited on the amount of torque and the assistance. Only be able to get assistance up to about 10, 12 miles per hour maybe. Still giving me plenty enough oomph to get up this hill, and surprisingly still running in turbo mode even at 2% battery, if you could call it turbo mode anymore. You can hear that motor getting a little bit quieter, just struggling for power just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and run this thing down to 0 and then talk about it. All right, there we go. We're all the way down to 0%. You now got the bar mount display flashing at me. This thing is showing 0%, but it's still pedaling. Oh, never mind. All right, we're all the way out, all the way tapped out. You can see the bar mount display flashing at me with that red flashing light telling me it's time to quit. My legs are killing me, my hands are killing me. Let's go ahead and check the stats real quick. So we got, oh man, 22.56 miles, an hour and 54 minutes. And we've done a total of 4,610 feet of vertical climbing. Plus, I still, I'm at the top right now, we're zeroed out on battery. I still get to descend the rest of the way back down, which you don't need a battery for. So this rail really lives up to the claim of 2 hours of riding on, technical terrain, pushing as hard as you can in that turbo mode right there. My legs are feeling it. My hands are fatigued, but this ride was so much fun. And that's the reason why you get an e-bike. If you only got 2 hours in the week to ride, this bike's really gonna let you push that ride into the limits, get max amount of vertical feet climbed and descended. So I'm gonna go ahead, smash my way back down to the trailhead. Go ahead, check out that next video right there, because it's not about me, it's about you guys getting stoked to go ride and have some fun, people.